Welcome to a brand new edition of the Rundown with Ramon, where we provide you the top things you need to know to live your best life or start or grow your business. My name is Ramon Ray, publisher of zoneofgenius.com, and I'm so glad you're here today with us on the Rundown with Ramon. As we do in every single episode, we have a brand new show for you today. We're going to cover several things that hopefully will put a smile on your face. Maybe they'll make you think, maybe they'll make you tear up, but either way, we know one thing and one thing alone. You're going to enjoy this show because when you finish this show, it's going to make you just a bit smarter. Again, my name is Ramon Ray, started 5 companies, sold 3 companies, authored 5 books, a serial entrepreneur, and I'm excited you're with me today. So with that, what's the show going to be about today? Well, we're going to get some insights from my friend Jason Pfeiffer, talking about turn your doubters into believers. I quote Jason Pfeiffer quite a bit, executive editor of Entrepreneur. Really good content he shares on what happens when people don't believe you, when they doubt you. What do you do? We're going to talk about crowdfunding. Barbara Weltman has mentioned this before. I'm going to talk about her and touch on this topic of crowdfunding, but I may go into, if I remember, do you even need external funding for your business? Here's another thing we're going to talk about. I wish I had prioritized 5 self-care habits sooner in my entrepreneur journey, writes Joey Wilder. Our healthcare, our self-care, thanks for that thumbs up, are so important. New York Times writes how to set boundaries when setting those boundaries may not come naturally for you. So what do you do about it? Shout out to Shark Tank. Shark Tank is a great barometer of the U.S. economy and ecosystem. What can we learn from Shark Tank about ourselves and about life? Of course, tips and insights from Seth Godin we're going to touch on. Discovery and invention, what the difference are and why they're so important. We're going to touch on this energy drink changed its packaging and sales skyrocketed. And lastly, we'll close on shout out to libraries who are providing great spaces for entrepreneurs, great ecosystems for entrepreneurs. So at that, I'm glad you're here. Welcome to the new edition of The Rundown with Ramon. And we're back again. Thanks for being here on the Rundown with Ramon. Let's dive right into today's episode and touch on topic number 1. Ding, 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 ding. What do you do when people doubt you? Have there been time in your life when people doubted you? People didn't think you could do it. They were like, nah, you're not the one that can do it. What do you do? Jason Pfeiffer has 2 things he says, and I want to unpack this a bit more. Undercut their expectations, he says. Here's how. Find your positive opposite. He said this is an idea he first encountered when he was parenting, but here's the thing. If you're the boss, what's the positive opposite of being intimidating? It's becoming more nurturing and mentoring. So if people think and assume you're going to be late, what's up, Scott Simons? Good day and welcome to the Rundown with Ramon. Good to have you here, my brother. If people think, nah, you can't do it, or nah, you always arrive late. The positive opposite of that is changing that and surprising them and being on time. If people think, nah, you're always going to put me down, then that means the positive opposite, according to Jason Pfeiffer, is surprising them and lifting them up. So tip number 1, when people kind of undercut you, when they doubt you, when they don't think you could do it, Jason Pfeiffer, executive editor of Entrepreneur, says, do positive opposite. Second thing he says, how this impacts me and you. What he says here, when you're aware of the worst that people might expect from us, we create a guide for how to surprise them, then delight them, then draw them closer to us and build real bonds. I thought this was very, very interesting. The aspect of when people doubt you, when people don't believe in you, sometimes there's nothing you can do about it, Deborah. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. But sometimes a few of the people, especially if we care, we can positively impact how they think, and we can surprise them by bringing something way different than they thought we would show up again. I'm glad you're here. This is the Rundown with Ramon. Ding, 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 ding. Next up, I want to touch on the aspect of, should you try crowdfunding? Crowdfunding is definitely not new. It's age old, but it got me thinking, maybe crowdfunding is for some people. My friend Barbara Weltman talks about this, but here's the rub. Before you think about crowdfunding, before you even think about getting loaned, before you think about bootstrapping and maybe using your savings or using credit cards, whatever, as I've done, do you really need external funding? Is your business small enough, as it is for most of us, that just as Mark Cuban says on Shark Tank, just making a good sale may be all you need to do? That could be all you need to do is make a sale. Sometimes we instinctively think, oh, I need to get money to start my business, when maybe you don't. Maybe you need to do something. Maybe you need to make, now, if you're making cups, you need a factory and a sales and all that kind of thing, and infrastructure and manufacturing. You might need OPM, other people's money. But some things we do, maybe you can pre-sell these cups and do some pre-orders to get the minimal funding you need to start your business. But going back to crowdfunding, is crowdfunding a viable option for you? Yes, it could be. Crowdfunding is very powerful because crowdfunding is that where you're putting up a landing page. You're usually working with some sort of crowdfunding platform like Kickstarter, and there's many others out there. And that's where you're selling the idea, you're selling the vision. If you invest in me today, if you pay me today, I'm going to build an ecosystem that will be beneficial to you. And in X period of time, I will ship you what you prepaid for it, and most likely in crowdfunding, some bonuses along the way. So lesson of the day, tip of the day, crowdfunding definitely can work. I would just be careful. Don't think it's a source of easy money, and never, ever scam people. Now, Barbara says some types of crowdfunding are loans. The lender expects repayment of the funds lent to you. Some crowdfunding places, Craigslist, Crowdspaceless, according to one source, debt-based crowdfunding has the highest market share. So that's debt-based crowdfunding. People are crowdfunding and giving you pre-money for your idea, for your what you need, but you have to pay it back. Second type is equity crowdfunding. The investor gets an ownership interest in the business. Shopify has a list of the 10 best crowdfunding sites and platforms around. Then there's gifts. The contributors gives money because they want to help, but contributors may receive a token in return, such as a sample of an item created with the donation, but nothing of real value. So those are a few things that you may want to consider as you're looking to fund your next business. Crowdfunding can work, but don't just get in there. Don't just do it as some get rich quick thingamajiggy. Crowdfunding is a serious thing, and you have legal obligations that you owe to those who've invested in you and crowdfunded in you. Once again, everybody, my name is Ramon Ray. This is the Rundown with Ramon. So glad you're here on this entrepreneur journey with me. And maybe you're not a business owner, maybe you're working for a company, or maybe you're a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, a caregiver. Glad you're here learning on the Rundown with Ramon. Let's keep moving. Ding, 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 ding. 5 self-care tips for busy entrepreneurs. As business owners, one of the people we take care of oftentimes the least, unfortunately, is ourselves. We take care of ourselves the least, and that's no good. But I know oftentimes we're the person who gets taken care of last. And this entrepreneur is writing that they wish they had prioritized these 5 self-care habits sooner in their entrepreneurial journey. 1, fill your body with good nourishment. Just what you eat and what you consume is so important. Today I had a cup of Cafe Bustelo with Dunkin' Donuts creamer and a slice of banana bread. That's not the healthiest thing in the world, but that's what I had today. So that's number 1. Number 2, prioritizing sleep. Sleep is an essential part of good health. It's not a badge of honor to say, oh, I didn't sleep. I slept 3 hours doing my startup. That's not cool. Next up, business boundaries are a must. Being able to set boundaries in your business to enable you to serve the people you want to serve is part of having good health. Next up, taking time to disconnect. What are you doing to say, listen, I've worked hard all day. I've worked hard all week. I've worked hard all month. It's time for me to step back for half a day, a few hours, a week, and just take time to relax. Take time to disconnect. My friend Crystal Washington, she's very active on LinkedIn and other platforms. Check out Crystal Washington. She takes a decompress. She takes time off. I don't know if she still does it, but every single December, Crystal Washington does that. So consider if that's for you. Hey, Karen, happy day to you. Happy day to you, Karen. Thanks for being here on The Rundown with Ramon. And then don't be a solopreneur. Learn to say no. This is a powerful part of entrepreneurship, being able to learn to say no so that you can say yes to other things that will advance your business or that you really, really want to do. The art of saying no is so important. Everybody, glad you're here. Welcome again to The Rundown with Ramon. Ding, 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 ding. How to set boundaries when it's not natural for you to do. Boundaries are an important thing that we all should learn in one way or another, because if we don't set boundaries, we're only going to have people roll over us, and we're not going to be able to live the life we want, not have the fulfillment that we want if we're not able to set boundaries. New York Times writes this, and I think it's so important. How do we set boundaries? If you fear, you'll get pushback. The assertive new you might take people by surprise. And if they've long heard yes, they may keep hounding you when they hear no. Aren't you hearing a recurring theme? Even if there's a little pushback, stay consistent. People can dislike your boundaries at first, but they also learn to respect them. I had a friend of mine, her name was Rosina, and was working on being more healthy. And she had a consistent discipline that she wouldn't eat in the evening. She wouldn't eat a few hours before going to bed. And I also have another friend, his name is Daniel, who's like that as well. At first, it sounds weird. You want to push them, just eat, just eat, just eat. But after you hit it for the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time, you know they're serious about it, and you don't push them anymore. You realize this is their lifestyle and what they want to do. So it's absolutely so important. At first, as you set boundaries, people may not respect it, but as you push back consistently, they will. Now, New York Times writes, if you're worried, you'll cave. When you're tempted to fall back on your urge to please, try to anticipate the specific things you'll get if you stay firm instead of imagining the other person's disapproval. Imagining what you'll gain even if they disapprove of you. And then if you're afraid of getting dropped, fear of abandonment often drives people pleasers. But sometimes, he added, you can feel even more alone when you're abandoning your needs to please somebody else. So my point being here, my admonition to all of us here, setting boundaries is safe. Setting boundaries is good. If we don't set boundaries for ourselves, people are not going to respect us. We're not going to live the life that we want and serve those we can serve. So learn to set boundaries in your life to live the best life that you want. Boundaries are absolutely important, and they're good to do. And I would dare say people who really love you, they should respect that you have boundaries. If they really care for you, if they're really your friend, if they really love you, they should be fully respecting that you have boundaries you've set in life for certain things that are very important to you. If you've just joined us, welcome to The Rundown with Ramon. My name is Ramon Ray. You can get to know me better at RamonRay.com. Get to know me at zoneofgenius.com. Let's go with more on The Rundown with Ramon. Ding, 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 ding. Kudos to Shark Tank. New York Times has a nice write-up about Shark Tank and how it's a great barometer of the U.S. economy and the U.S. life overall. Its season 1 started in 2009, 15 some years ago, I think it is, give or take. Let's see, what's 20? I'm not going to do the math right now. Terrible. But season 1, the show premiered against the backdrop of the Great Recession. Small business owners shared stories of struggle and overcoming adversity. Jumps to season 3, the economy gets better. Jump to season 4, Scrub Daddy, one of the biggest sales in the world. Season 5, where Jamie had a device called Doorbolt, which was Ring. They rejected him. And now Jamie's a multi-billionaire, and it was acquired by Amazon. Goes on to season 6 and continues to go on and showing how Shark Tank is a great barometer of the American psyche. The first season, Mr. John and the other Shark Tanks were pitched by a lot of sole proprietors. But it seems as it's gone on, the sophistication with entrepreneurship has grown. And part of that could be Because of Shark Tank, millions of people every week watching Shark Tank and getting ideas. Yes, the show is not a perfect vision of reality. It's my understanding half the deals on Shark Tank do not go through. So in essence, it's a show to promote your product, promote the show. It's entertainment. It's a show. But the point is, there's lessons learned and open the door to people learning about venture capital, to learn things of landing costs, to learn things about financing, to learn things about should you get a loan, to learn things about debt, to learn things about how far will you go to get the dream that you want to do. That's the power of Shark Tank. So kudos to Shark Tank, been around for a number of years now, which has been part of the American psyche. Been part of the American, especially the entrepreneur side. It's much more than just a show. It definitely is entertainment. Of course, you have the QVC economy. Who knew about QVC was so popular and so big that you could have a product like this, market it, put it on QVC, and make millions? Of course, Lori Grenier doing that QVC. Season 11, after 10 years, entrepreneurs recognize the value of Shark Tank as a potential marketing platform for their products and just want to be on there to market the platform to millions of people online. You had Squatty Potty. Famous product. Who ever heard of Squatty Potty before it came on Shark Tank? Shark Tank has birthed many, many things. Marketing muscle. Mr. Lee is also the founder of 37 Angels. She has done due diligence on dozens of companies that appeared on Shark Tank. None of them, she says, described the show primarily as a way to get funding. It was a way to market their products. People don't go on Shark Tank to get funding. If you want to get funding, there's many easier ways to get funding. You go there because it's a great platform to get publicity for your product. Everybody, so glad you're here. This is the Rundown with Ramon. By the way, if you want to be on the Rundown with Ramon, email me, DM me, touch base with me, and let me know what story you have to share. Let me know what thought leadership you have to share to be on the Rundown with Ramon. Let's keep going here. Seth Godin always has powerful wisdom. I've been knowing Seth Godin and rocking with him, not as best friends as it were, but you know, he's a virtual mentor of mine. He's been on my stage many times. I've been with him on a virtual or real stage many times. Always love how he shares, how he shows up and what he does. And Seth Godin has a daily email newsletter. And one of his email newsletters, he talked about discovery and invention. I want to take the time to unpack that today. Seth Godin writes, Isaac Newton didn't invent gravity. It was there all along. He simply named and explained it. The same is true for planets, continents, and obscure species. They're discovered, not invented. Michelangelo talked about removing all the parts of the marble that weren't the statue on his way to creating great art. Discovery is like that. Often we put ourselves on the hook to invent something when it might be simpler and more direct to act like we're exploring on our way to discovering something instead. We don't always have to invent something, says Seth Godin. Instead of us thinking we have to invent something, maybe we can just be well on our way to discovering something like you've discovered today, hopefully, being with me on the Rundown with Ramon. Ding, 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 ding. I love this. When this energy drink changes packaging, sales skyrocketed to 40 million. Here's why it worked. There was an energy drink company called Highball. The drink was in a glass bottle or jar, which they thought was best. But the glass would break. It wasn't the right form factor. Things weren't happening so well. So as distribution increased, so did problems. But as a test, the founder started asking some retailers, would you be interested in a canned Highball? The response was yes. Like we really had to sit there and go, what if it were in a can instead of in a bottle? Because they were so anti-can. But here's what happened when they made the switch. Sales went through the roof. And then it was acquired by Anheuser-Busch for $40 million. Well, sales at 40 million, then it was acquired. So what's the lesson for all of us? It's a common founder mistake, he said. When you have a vision for your brand, it's hard to question whether that vision is correct. And this shows us that it's okay to shift. It's okay to make a pivot. That's so important. Hey, my name is Ramon Ray. Welcome to the Rundown with Ramon. Love it that Casey's here saying, yes, this is true. We don't have to invent. Casey, so true. We can be in discover mode and think of a new version of the proverbial mousetrap. We don't have to always invent it new. Love it. Karen said I do meditation and breathing exercises during the week. After this show, I'm going to go for a 30-minute power walk, do some push-ups and stretches. Indeed, So yeah, this is the journey of entrepreneurship. A, everything doesn't have to be invented from scratch. Number two, it's okay to discover and then offer a new version of that. And it's okay to make a pivot. And sometimes the pivot we make is the thing we need to move us along. Everybody, my name is Ramon Ray, an entrepreneur, motivational keynote speaker, event host. And I'm glad you're here today on The Rundown with Ramon. Ding, 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 ding. Love it here. When manufacturing jobs have shrunk, a library is giving a leg up to entrepreneurs. For me, this is a bigger story, not just about manufacturing jobs. Here, talking about Marcia in Toledo, Ohio. Marcia feels like she's been coming to the library for 100 years. She came with her kids when they were younger. Later, she came for computer help. Now, at 66, she discovered yet another reason to love the library. She's one of thousands of Toledo area residents making use of the free services the library offers to entrepreneurs like herself. Here's the bottom line. If you're struggling and maybe you're not up to date on AI, you're not up to date on using search, the library can be a great source of information and insight for you and for your business, your local library. Shout out to local libraries. I would go up and down Flatbush Avenue for many years and go to the Brooklyn Public Library. In recent days, I've gone to the Midtown Library, the Midtown New York Public Library. If you haven't visited your library, especially if you're struggling with leveraging the power of technology, and even if you're pretty adept at technology, the library may have some tools that you're not familiar with, tools that can help you search better, especially with certain industry topics for things you're searching for. My name is Ramon Ray, and this is The Rundown with Ramon, and I want to end today with a word of encouragement for you. If you're liking this content, do definitely check us out at zoneofgenius.com. Check us out there for more insight. Subscribe to our email newsletter and more. I encourage you to be clear on what you really, really, really want in business and in life. Be clear on that. Understand in yourself what you want. Ask yourself, do you even want to be in business? Is that something you want to do? Ask yourself, are you hungry enough to get to where you need to be to reach the goals you need to reach? Your pricing is one thing that trips up many entrepreneurs. Your pricing needs to be premium in most cases, not where you're trying to fight for the lowest margin. Your mindset is everything. What kind of mindset? Do you have a mindset towards success? Casey, you're so welcome. Thanks for being here today on The Rundown with Ramon. Mindset is so important for your success. And then I want you to ask yourself, what do you do best? What do you do that everybody knows you do best? And that you can get paid to do it. That's where you find the zen of being in your perfect zone of genius. My name is Ramon Ray. Go out today and let somebody know that they matter. Let somebody know that they care, that you care for them. Let somebody know, everybody. Have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed day today. And shout out indeed, Deborah, to the libraries. Indeed. Karen, glad you love the library. Again, everybody, hey, this is a wrap. Brand new episode of The Rundown with Ramon in the bag. Glad you're here to enjoy it with me today. Go out, be blessed, and have an amazing, amazing day. See you next time.